Encapsulation. Encapsulation is the method of wrapping of data and method that work on the data within one unit. So encapsulation puts some restrictions on accessing variables and methods directly and can prevent the accidental modification of data. So these type of variables are known as private variables. So we make use of private variables in order to make the encapsulation process. So in the real-time example, so you could make use of a bank process. So in the bank, once the data generated for an user in terms of bank account and his details, so it cannot be modified. So in order to avoid the modification, in order to avoid the accidental changes with respect to account number, so encapsulation is the method which will be followed. So in order to avoid the modification, we use encapsulation. So this can be done with the help of private variables. So here we can make use of private variables and private method to make the data encapsulate. So for example, in the private variable, I just did one example as underscore underscore a, and in private method, I'm showing as underscore underscore show. So now let us look into this encapsulation method with an example in the code editor. So I will create an example encapsulation dot py. So let me create a class A, and I will try to create a global try to create a class variable which is 20, and I will define a show function. In this, self will be the first parameter, and I will print, I will just give a random comment printing the data. Then I will create an object for this of O1 is equal to class A. Then I will try to access the class variable with the help of object A. Then I will try to print it before executing it. When I run this, I will get an output as 20. So in order to call the function as well, I will just make use of object one o.show, and I will try to print this now. So here I'm getting the output of class variable and the instance method. So this is the general method what we have did in the previous oops method. So but we are now dealing with encapsulation, where you need to make the data a private. So in order to make data private, we could able to use underscore underscore a. So if I make underscore underscore a, then the following variable a will be the private variable, and you could not able to access this variable outside the class. Now if I try to run this again, I will get an error as the class A object has no attribute a, since the variable a has been become private and the data has been fixed to 20, and it cannot be modified outside the class, and even you can't able to access its data outside the class. Hence here exactly the data has been become encapsulated with the help of private variable, but you could able to access these variable inside the instance method. So self dot underscore underscore a. So when I run this here, I'm getting this error again. I will try to comment it out this, and if I run this, try to comment it out, and if I run this, I'm getting the data as printing the data, and self dot underscore underscore a is 20. So here I got the class variable data inside the instance method, and I'm getting the output. Here now I could able to access the instance method, but I can't able to access instance variable. So I will try to add a comment. So this is my private variable. So this is private variable, and this is the instance method. Now let us modify this method into private method. I will try to modify this method into private method. If I modify this into private method, when I call this function, so again it will show an error, because it shows an error as class A object has now attribute show, because now this method is also become an private method. Hence the data is completely encapsulated, and even you could not able to access these variables outside the class with the help of object, and you could not able to modify any of its data. So this is the example of encapsulation process. So I think you are a bit clear with encapsulation as of now. So that's all for the day. Thank you.